What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to talk to you about CleanSpark. They did submit their Q1 earnings after hours on Thursday. I want to go over some of the key highlights that you need to kind of take away from their earnings. Aside from that, go over some of the data points and just general support and resistance, things that you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So CleanSpark did go up 9.15% on Friday. Earnings, they did do fairly well, beat on all the aspects, gave good future guidance. Implied move was roughly around 7.49%, so it did exceed expectations. And kind of going into the earnings, it was more of a 50-50 chance on a meet/beat. Of course, that's kind of basing off of historical data right over here, but nonetheless, they definitely did do fairly well. I'm going to go over, like I mentioned, some of the key highlights at the end of the video, but going over shorts, I like to bring this up as a good kind of benchmark, but 28.08% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 77.06 million shares overall are being shorted. Shorts did increase on Friday, 346,000 shares, and you can kind of just generally see that shorts did increase leading into their earnings. So of course that means that they were anticipating that they were going to miss. And so, of course, on come next week, you could see some adjustments in that regard. Aside from that, though, there was 14 million in calls on Friday. 3.52 million in puts. 55% of all the options being done on Friday were optimistic in nature, and you can kind of just see the amount of money that was getting into CleanSpark on Friday. So there was a grand total of 17.4 million in total premiums. 7.6 the day prior, 4.8. So definitely a huge amount. And actually, let's just kind of take a look. So last time it was that high was roughly on the 23rd, December 23rd. So good solid month and a half. So a lot of money was getting into CleanSpark on Friday. Of the call options that were purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $13 range. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 1050. So still there's a little bit more upside than down at this stage. Right now, with it closing at $11.33 on Friday, it is trading between this R1 and the pivot. So $10.67 is going to be that strong support. Flip side, $11.90, and then $12.67 going to be the following resistance / target points. So on Friday, it kind of did bounce off of this R2 general area. So it did have $12.47. So in my opinion, I think based on the huge successful earnings, it might be kind of time to really look upwards. So again, just kind of take note of some of the strong support and resistance points. Aside from all of that fun jazz, quickly going over here to review some of the recent analyst ratings. So you did have 3 come in. 119, that was done by KBW, Bill, who has a 69% success rating. You also had HC Wainwright, $27 price target. Mike, who has a 59% success rating. And then you also had $23 buy by Cantor Fitzgerald. Brett, who has a 48% success rating. As a consensus of all the ratings, though, $23 is that price target. And that does work out to be 103% upside. So analysts definitely are very bullish on CleanSpark. Give yourself a shout out if you bought, if you sold, or whatever else. And then with that said, I'm going to quickly play this. It does have all the absolute key highlights that you need to know and take away from their earnings coming from an investor standpoint. So with that said, appreciate all of you watching.
CleanSpark targets 50 exahash by mid-2025 amid 120% revenue growth in Q1. Earnings Call Insights CleanSpark, CLSK, Q1 2025 Management View. CEO Zach Bradford highlighted CleanSpark's strategic positioning as the largest publicly traded pure-play Bitcoin miner, emphasizing the company's operational leverage and margins as it scales to 50 exahash by mid-2025. He noted that the company's Q1 milestone of 39.1 exahash exceeded expectations and reiterated plans to achieve the 50 exahash target through greenfield construction and expansions in Georgia, Wyoming, and Tennessee. A $650 million convertible bond secured during the quarter was used to fund growth and a share buyback, ensuring that the path to 50 exahash will not rely on equity issuance. Bradford emphasized that this funding strategy aligns with CleanSpark's long-term operational efficiency goals. CFO 𝗪𝗓𝗂𝗧𝗛 reported that Q1 revenues grew 120% year-over-year to $162.3 million, driven by higher Bitcoin prices and increased production efficiency. Fleet efficiency improved to 17.59 joules per terahash, with further gains expected in the coming weeks. 𝗪𝗓𝗂𝗧𝗛 stated, "Our cost to mine a Bitcoin decreased to approximately $34,000, representing a $2,000 improvement compared to the prior quarter outlook." Management reaffirmed its plans to achieve 50 exahash by mid-2025. With greenfield development and site expansions already underway, the company also holds an option to scale beyond 60 exahash at competitive costs. Bradford stated that the infrastructure necessary to reach 50 exahash is already secured, including advanced S21XT immersion units and other components. He noted that the company's strategy focuses on maximizing efficiency and immediate productivity. CleanSpark remains open to acquisitions but emphasized disciplined evaluations, particularly for opportunities involving less efficient fleets or small-scale sites with capital constraints. Financial results. CleanSpark reported Q1 revenues of $162.3 million, up 120% year-over-year, and net income of $246.8 million. Adjusted EBITDA reached $321.6 million, marking a new industry benchmark. Bitcoin production increased 33% quarter-over-quarter, with the average price per Bitcoin exceeding $83,000 during the quarter. The company ended Q1 with 9,952 Bitcoin in its treasury, which has since grown to 10,556 as of January 31. Gross profit margins improved significantly, with the cost to mine a Bitcoin decreasing to $34,000, reflecting increased fleet efficiency and operational execution. Q&A. 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗚𝗧𝗛, Wainwright, asked about Bitcoin treasury management strategies. CFO 𝗪𝗓𝗂𝗧𝗛 responded, "We are in the process of gathering RFPs, but ultimately, we're not going to leverage 100% of the balance immediately." Brett Knobloch, Cantor Fitzgerald, inquired about managing operating expenses while growing hash rate. 𝗪𝗓𝗂𝗧𝗛 explained, "Every exahash that comes online almost drops to the bottom line because we don't need incremental corporate overhead to support additional revenue." Tyler DiMatteo, BTIC, asked about scaling challenges from 40 to 50 exahash. Bradford emphasized, "Everything we've done is to basically build a blueprint that can be stamped out on a repeat basis." Sentiment analysis. Analysts were generally positive, focusing on CleanSpark's growth trajectory and operational efficiency. Questions revolved around treasury management, capital allocation, and scaling challenges, reflecting optimism with a cautious interest in execution details. Management maintained a confident tone, emphasizing operational milestones, strategic funding, and disciplined growth. Bradford's repeated emphasis on repeatability and efficiency reflected confidence in scaling plans. Compared to the previous quarter, management's tone was more confident, driven by exceeding hash rate targets and strong financial performance. Analysts remained inquisitive, but less skeptical than before. Quarter-over-quarter comparison. CleanSpark's Q1 revenue of $162.3 million represented significant sequential growth from the $89.1 million reported in Q4 2024, aided by higher Bitcoin prices and increased production. Fleet efficiency improved from 21.94 joules per terahash to 17.59 joules per terahash, and the cost to mine a Bitcoin decreased by $2,250 quarter-over-quarter. Management's tone shifted from cautious optimism in Q4 to confident execution in Q1, driven by achieving and surpassing operational targets. Risks and concerns. Management highlighted potential challenges from rising energy costs, but stated that their diversified energy strategy mitigates this risk. 𝗪𝗓𝗂𝗧𝗛 noted, "We do not manage the business to a price per kilowatt hour, but rather to margin and profitability on a per-coin basis." Analysts expressed interest in CleanSpark's ability to manage scaling efficiently without overextending its balance sheet. Management reaffirmed its disciplined approach to capital allocation. Final takeaway. CleanSpark delivered a strong Q1 performance, marked by 120% revenue growth and a significant increase in hash rate and fleet efficiency. With funding secured and infrastructure in place, the company is well positioned to achieve its 50 exahash target by mid 2025. Management's disciplined growth strategy and focus on operational excellence continue to differentiate CleanSpark in the Bitcoin mining industry, while its ability to adapt to market dynamics ensures long-term scalability and profitability.